Assalamu alaikum. I am Bilquees Ara from BMS Langate, and my topic is for class 6th, and the subject is English. Hello children, hope you are fine. Yesterday we read that the king of that country, he returned back from the cave of shepherd and was very pleased with the king, and he appointed him as the governor of the small district. But although the shepherd he rose to power, dignity, he remained as humble as ever and was still famous for his sympathy, goodness, and wisdom. But the governors of the other provinces, they start growing jealousy for him, and they start talking against him before the king, and they asked the king why he always carry an iron chest with him. Perhaps he had a treasure in it. So this was yesterday's sum up. Today we will move into the last para of this, the end of this story, and this is sum up in these lines, and then we will read these paragraphs. The summary of the lines is in these lines. The new governor was called to the palace. He was ordered to explain why he always carried an iron chest. What did the chest contain? Yes. So the story is like this. At first the king did not pay attention to these reports, but how long could he ignore these governors and their endless stories about the shepherd? One thing was certain. The king discovered the new governor did carry an iron chest with him all the time. So one day the new governor was summoned to the palace. He came riding on his camel, and to everyone's delight, the famous iron chest was there, fastened securely behind him on the camel's back. Now the king was angry. He thundered, "Why do you always carry that iron chest with you? What does it contain?" The governor smiled. He asked his servant to bring in the chest. How eagerly the people standing around waited for the shepherd to be found out. But how great was their astonishment, and even of the king himself, when the chest was opened. No gold or silver or jewels, but an old blanket was all that came out. Holding it up proudly, the shepherd said, "This, my dear master, is my only treasure. I always carry it with me. But why do you carry such an ordinary blanket with you? Surely you are the governor of a district?" the king asked, to which the shepherd replied with quiet dignity, "This blanket is my oldest friend. It will still protect me if at any time your majesty should wish to take away my new clothes." How pleased the king was, and how embarrassed the jealous governors became to hear the wise man's reply. Now they knew that the shepherd was indeed the humblest and wisest man in the land. The king made him the governor of a much bigger district that very day. So the governors of the other district, they asked king why he always carry that iron chest with him. The king could not ignore these governors and their endless stories, so he called a governor to the palace, and he came on his camel, and his famous iron chest was with him, that was fastened. Fastened means tightly fixed securely behind him on the camel's back. Now the king was angry, and he shouted, "Why do you always carry this?" He asked him, "Why you always carry this iron chest with you? What does it contain?" The governor smiled, and he asked his servant to bring the chest, and all the people in that room, they were eagerly waiting for that box to find what is in it. But how great was their surprise, astonishment, that and even of the king himself, when the chest was opened, when the box was opened, there was no gold in it, no silver in it, no jewels in it. But what was there? There was an old blanket in it that came out from that box. And he held that blanket proudly and said, "My dear master, this is my only treasure, and I always carry it with me." And here the king asked him, "Why you carry this such an ordinary blanket with you always?" The governor of the district, the shepherd, he replied, he said that this is my oldest friend, and it will still protect me if you take away all your clothes from me. Clothes means the clothes. If you take all your clothes from me, and this is the only blanket, this is the only thing which remains with me, and it will protect me that time. And the king was very pleased, and the governors of the other districts, they get embarrassed. And now everybody knew that shepherd was really an humble and a wise man on the land. And now the king made him the governor of much bigger districts that very day. So this was all about this story, the shepherd's treasure. Here came some words as we already read it. Cottage. Cottage means a small house, a hut type. Advice. Advice means opinion or recommendation on how to act in a particular situation. Then comes disguise. Having an appearance that hides the identity or true form. As we read it yesterday, it means the base badal ke jaise aana. Astonishment jaise, it means surprise. हैरान होना. Humble means very not meek, not proud. Governor, ruler. Mockingly, with contempt or ridicule, as मजाक में जिसको बोलते. Summon, to order someone to come or to be present at a particular place. Fastened means fixed, dignity, esteem, respect, and embarrassed, ashamed. Okay, so assalamu alaikum.